Welcome back to this week's episode of Zero to Fuel Tycoon, the series in which I'm going from zero-isk into becoming a known entity for fuel production in EVE Online. And this week we have some big news, as we are joining WOMP out in Nullsec. This is a change that was put forward to me by my officers, and it's something I've been feeling coming for a while as well. And there's been several factors in this, such as bleeding people to WOMP, and also that we're pretty much already based out in Nullsec in our MR region. So it only felt like a natural step for us. So this is another one of the steps I've made, going from Galente, moving down to MR, moving out to Nullsec, joining Plenitude. So this feels like one of these changes where I felt that, yeah, it's time to move. So this change is not currently in effect. We will be moving this week. And we did a poll in the corporation to see who actually wanted to move to Nullsec, and it was quite overwhelmingly positive. A few people weren't too keen on the Nullsec life, so we will be creating another corp this week, which will be the sort of logistics branch for the Nullsec people, together with the people who want to be on high sec, and also for newer players who don't want to take the step out in Nullsec straight away. A little bit of an incubation, new bro kind of thing. But yeah, this extra corp will also still provide us with a bit of a link to Plenitude and the police force, so that we're not completely severing ties. We'll still be involved in that as well. But yeah, quite exciting. And the setup is that the Plenitude Alliance are allowed to hang out in two of the Nullsec systems of WOMP. One of these has an ice belt, which has been a very good and important part of ARDCO, really. It's been our sort of golden goose. But by joining WOMP, it opens up a lot of possibilities for us. Not only as a lot of our customers are in WOMP, could mean that WOMP itself could be a customer for us, but it also gives us access to so much more of Nullsec. So in the WOMP lands itself, there's 5 ice belts, for instance, and some of them have crystallos. I've only talked briefly with the leadership in WOMP, and I don't exactly know if some ice belts are maybe off limits or whatever, but we'll work that out. But we'll have access to Nullsec in a way that we didn't have in Plenitude. And again, we didn't actually spend too much time in high sec. We did a bit of the moon mining, but instead of just being locked into 2 systems, we'll be able to spread out a bit, and should give us some great opportunities for further growth. But it also comes with responsibilities. This will mean that people will have to get more involved in fleets. That's one of the requirements for joining WOMP, is like the people actively turn up. We can't just do our thing, even though I think it would be appreciated to have fuel block producers. It's not like we would be leeching only. We would be providing, but there's also the expectation that we do our part. Seeing as we have been forming quite well in the police force, even though we personally don't have any stations. We've been, even though we are one of the larger ones, we've still had a good showing in the police force. And also that our membership is not really industrial Care Bears, even though we have a little bit of that. Many of our members are like seasoned veterans who have done Nullsec before, and some are itching to do a bit of PvP as well. So for one thing, it'll stop the bleeding a little bit of people. But first and foremost, it's a bit of an exciting step for us. I'll be honest, I have no idea how this is going to turn out. I have no idea about living as part of a Nullsec alliance, especially now that things seems to be heating up in New Eden. It'll be quite interesting to see how this develops. So there's a lot to learn, but yeah, exciting times ahead of us. For the corporation, we've had since last week, it's been a pretty big week. The Master Wallet and MR Wallet haven't moved too much, but the Caldari one has, because we've had another of the big sales that we do each month. The MR Wallet not moving is because a lot of the money gets reinvested. And of course, the venture capital has gone up quite a bit. That's with the moon mining, which is really great to see, like 40% increase. And this gives us overall huge increase. I'll have to preface this a bit with the Caldari wallet is already going down a bit again, because we're reinvesting that money into the buybacks. So it's not like we have made 7 billion profit. I think it's about 700 million that we make, something like that, if I can remember it correctly. It'll be interesting to see how this develops now that officially become a Nullsec corporation. I just have to say this as well. I forgot for the different part. It's not like we'll be abandoning ISEC either. We'll still have the offices in the other regions, of course, and it might get trickier to have entire mining fleets out there. So maybe we'll have to start looking at finding suppliers for the different isotopes. Common thing throughout this series is people reaching out to me trying to sell ice, and we've never had to buy it, but this might be the time that we should start looking into that. I think that we will probably transition to becoming more of a supplier for the Alliance. It's not like we're not gonna remove the orders or anything, but I think just naturally it's gonna happen, especially as we're centralizing down there as well. In a dream scenario, I hope that the HiSec Corp branch sort of could fill the boots. I don't think there's enough people right now who wanted to stay in HiSec that would be able to supply the isotopes. But for how it was before, like one seasoned miner multi-boxer could supply quite a bit of isotopes, more than enough that we would need. So technically, we would only need like one person in each region. But that sort of requires a certain type of person that enjoys that. It's not impossible to find, but we'll have to see how it develops. This is going to be a bit more of an improvised thing, and we'll see how it develops, figure out what works and what doesn't. There's several things we have to explore. We have to see about the moon mining out in Nullsec. Haven't talked to WOMP how that works. We now also have the opportunity to PvE out in Nullsec, so maybe it's time to set up a proper PvE branch and see if we can do some DAD complexes. Because if I'm understanding that correctly, that's sort of the dungeons you can do as several people, which I think would be fun. There's a lot to explore, and I haven't really, me personally, haven't really looked up too much about living in Nullsec. So I'm kind of throwing myself out there a bit without knowing. Like, of course, I've been in Nullsec quite a bit. I've done some mining and stuff, but I haven't really taken the time to figure out the different mechanics for things. Yeah. From what I know, it'll be a big boost to everyone who moves there in terms of ISK. That's for sure, compared to HiSec. And also a move away from the HiSec mechanics, which, I don't know, they don't feel great in terms of ganking and the structures. And yeah, I'm not experienced enough to say how it should work or give you any constructive criticism, really. It just hasn't felt great. So we'll have to see how Nullsec will pan out. The move will happen this week. I'm just going to set up the new corp and we'll move some people around. People can create the holding alts and put in the corp as well. So I'm aiming for maybe Wednesday or something. So we'll do a bit of a shorter update this week, and next week I will give you a rundown of everything we put in place and our first few little steps out into Nullsec. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you again in the next one.